This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth. A spray in a cow's nose could soon protect it and people from the bird flu. That's right, guys. Researchers from the University of Maryland and the USDA's Agricultural Research Service is now working to head off infections in cows and people alike by developing a nasal vaccine to protect dairy cattle from bird flu, with support from a $650,000 grant from the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. And the $650,000 pales in comparison to the $27.4 million initiative to breed low-methane livestock across 4 continents. This is all part of the Global Methane Genetics Initiative. And the initiative supports developing genetic evaluations for methane emissions and breeding programs, including key environmental traits, and promotes the adoption of breeding values for methane emission in the whole dairy and beef chain, folks. Meanwhile, you've got the Dutch warning people to not eat homegrown eggs over forever chemical fears. They try to suggest here that eggs produced by privately owned chickens, rather than ones that are bought from shops or markets, may contain high levels of PFAS, shown by new research at 60 different locations. They've got this whole thing completely backwards, suggesting that it's your backyard chickens are the problem and not the ones coming from the supermarkets and the stores. This is exactly what me and my friend Curtis tried to warn about in this video. They want to control the food. Will the next flu Psyop be aimed at farmers? Where we talk about the planned monopolization of food, how the powers that ought not be may attempt to achieve total control over food, and most importantly, what you can do about that right now to ensure that you and your family won't be left starving and begging for scraps at the government's table. Because you have to consider why people, like for example, like Bill Gates is the biggest private owner of farmland in the United States. You should be asking yourself why that is. And also, why the biggest farm owner is suggesting that rich nations should be shifting entirely to synthetic beef. Guys, there is a plan here. And honestly, it's this kind of stuff that led me to want to experiment with the carnivore diet. I talked about that in this live AMA, guys. If you're not familiar with this, the carnivore diet is essentially when you eat nothing but meat. And I did exactly that for 3 whole months straight, and the benefits were pretty mind-blowing, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to talk about all of this and much, much more in this video. But really quickly, guys, just before we do, I'd ask that you check me out here at subscribestar.com/pressfortruth if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this info. Here you can sign up for $5 or $10 or $20 a month. Whatever is within your means, guys, is greatly appreciated. You can click the top link in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who just takes 1 minute today to support my efforts here at Press for Truth by clicking on subscribestar.com/pressfortruth. All right, here's a classic Alex Jones meme. Here's me eating twice as much meat so a vegan out there isn't making a difference. And, you know, it's funny because honestly, this stuff is like a miracle food. I mean, if you haven't seen my live AMA talking about this, make sure you check it out. I'll put a link to all this in the description. But I essentially went on a 3-month-long carnivore experimental diet where I ate nothing but meat. You know, steaks, ground beef, bacon and eggs, you name it. Anything that comes from an animal, and that's it. And the health benefits were shockingly amazing. In those 3 months, I lost over 30 pounds, which I had packed on over the last few years, which was definitely necessary to lose. I had a lot of aches and pains in my joints that essentially disappeared. I did this for like 3 months and I was feeling fantastic. After the experiment, I slowly started introducing some things back into my diet, and to be honest, I've regained back 12 pounds. I'm starting to have a little bit of my aches and pains coming back. So I've just gone back to being on the strict carnivore diet just 2 weeks ago. I started April 1st once again for 2 or 3 months again to get myself back on track. And that just goes to show, like, I'm living proof of the benefits of this. And I think maybe that's why they're trying to demonize it so much. Maybe that's why guys like Bill Gates are suggesting that rich nations should shift entirely to synthetic beef. By the way, guys, I'll remind you, before there were baby formula shortages, Bill Gates was the guy who was backing lab-grown breast milk. So that should give you an idea about some of their plans here with cows. And that's why this is important to look at, this Bezos Earth Fund and Global Methane Hub, which launched this $27.4 million initiative to breed low methane livestock. For the first time, scientists and breeders across the globe are joining forces to slash methane emissions from livestock, backed by $19.3 million from the Bezos Earth Fund and $8.1 million from the Global Methane Hub. A new initiative will fund research and breeding programs across North America, Latin America, Europe, and Africa, and Oceania to help herds emit less methane naturally, they say. This is all part of the global genetics, the Methane Genetics Initiative, which is a global program to accelerate genetic progress in methane emission in ruminants in the global north and south. So it's not just cattle, folks. Some other common ruminants are other foods that people eat, like deer, like sheep, like bison, like goats. If what they are working towards is preventing global warming, and this whole premise is based off of man-made climate change, then why the heck are they trying to alter the genetics of this very healthy food that we eat, ladies and gentlemen? It doesn't make any sense. It's all completely backwards. And this is why you have to be critical of this kind of stuff too. Developing a spray vaccine to go up a cow's nose to protect it from bird flu to ultimately protect you. Again, more insanity. It was first for cows last March when the U.S. Department of Agriculture announced the highly pathogenic avian flu virus, H5N1, had been found in cattle. Since then, most of the 70 human cases of the disease in the U.S. have come from interactions with infected herds. Now researchers are going to put all this money towards, investigating this. Preventing transmission of the disease from cows to people lessens the chances that it will evolve into a human virus that can be passed from person to person, infectious disease experts say. And that's really what this is all boiling down to, folks. You've got these professors collaborating here with a plan to use the grant funding money to adapt the nasal spray technology that they originally developed for COVID-19 and human influenza. The vaccine could also potentially be used in humans if necessary, they say. So that's really what this is all boiling down to, folks. It's not about, protecting the cows and the chickens. It's all part of the global inoculation program to get every single human being on this planet vaccinated. And it's also now going after the homegrown farmers. Again, as we warned about in this video, where I mentioned Henry Kissinger once said, "He who controls the food supply controls the people. Who controls the energy controls continents, and who controls the money controls the world." Henry Kissinger knew that in order to be able to control the people, you must be able to control the food. And the current march towards their desired levels of total control are well underway. But what is that going to mean for the small-time farmers? If you're not familiar, guys, with Curtis Stone, he used to have a channel called The Urban Farmer, and now he teaches about, homesteading and growing your own food and becoming fully self-sustainable and not reliant on the grocery stores, the banks, or the governments, which I think is of the utmost importance moving forward when we see them using these flu psyops to come after our food, which, as Henry Kissinger himself warned, once you do that, you can control the whole world. guys. So make sure you check this one out. Once again, I'm going to put links for all of this stuff in the description below, but just wanted to bring this to your attention that this is the kind of stuff that's in the works right now with the global food supply, and these are the kind of people here who are leading up this effort. Once again, guys, if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you this information, don't forget to check me out here at subscribestar.com/pressfortruth. Once again, $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, whatever is within your means, guys, is very, very greatly appreciated. Once again, I can't continue to do this work without the support that comes directly from you, the viewers. So that's all for today, guys. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to do so, please click the thumbs up button. Make sure you share this video with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most. And stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon, God willing. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.